Welcome everyone to the Avengenerds podcast, where we talk Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and more. I'm your host Torian, and with me is my co-host Peyton.
Yo.
We have a great show for everyone this week. We'll be talking about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and the news of the week. There'll be time codes in the description or the show notes if you want to jump around. And with that, here's Peyton with the news.
All right, we're back. We're in the new year. Or at least we will be in the new year. It's not the new year yet at time of recording, but it's going to be back. 2-week break and we're back. Next week, we're going to be having our 100 episode special. Very excited for that. Stay tuned for that. Make sure you're followed or subscribed or whatever you need to do, to be there for that. And hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube. But yeah, we have a great show for everyone this week. We got the 2 weeks worth of news that we were gone for, and there were some pretty huge things that happened. So let's just get into it. This is according to the Hollywood Reporter, and this technically isn't a piece of news, but I thought I'd bring it up because it is. I think there's sort of an important lesson to come out of it. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Pom Klementieff had been cast in Superman Legacy in an unknown role, but James Gunn came out and said and denied it, saying that Pom Klementieff will not star in Superman Legacy, saying, quote, "This is 100% not true. Not only is Pom not in the movie, but no one has ever even discussed her being in the movie, nor do I have any idea what role she would even possibly play. I honest to God can't imagine where the Pom thing came from. It's so weird to me. Usually the actual trades aren't this far off." And I bring that up for that exact reason. A lot of the times when we bring up trades like the Hollywood Reporter or Variety, generally speaking, like 9 times out of 10, they're correct. They're always very reputable. They usually, when the trades talk about it, it's pretty much true. But every now and again, there is something that comes up that isn't true, and this appears to be one of those things. Because James Gunn, I don't think he's ever lied. Usually, when he's like something comes out about something, and he's like, "No, it's not true." It isn't true, especially when it comes to the trades. A lot of time when casting comes out in the trades, he then confirms it, because then it's like unavoidable at that point. So it's just important to, even if it's something from Variety or the Hollywood Reporter, to always take it with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, it is still a rumor, even if it's a very reputable source. But moving on to some other news. It happened. It happened. Jonathan Majors has been found guilty of third-degree assault and harassment. Jonathan Majors will be sentenced on February 6th. He faces up to a year in prison or probation. Now, when it comes to something like this, generally speaking, when an assault case like this, and I guess harassment, it's always iffy, because it's like, okay, well, there's a victim involved, and the first thing you don't want to do is be like, well, what about the MCU? But that's what this podcast is, so that's what we're gonna do. Marvel Studios, pretty much like within an hour of him being found guilty, they fired him. So Jonathan Majors is gone, and according to the Hollywood Reporter, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty internally is now just being referred to as Avengers 5. So yeah, it's he's done. Which I've never seen someone speed run their career so hard, so fast. Like, he had everything set up for him. Like, he was the next big thing. He could have, like, genuinely, and this could be blasphemous, I think he could have been, if he played his cards right, he could have been like the next Denzel. But bro fumbled the bag harder than I've ever seen anyone fumble the bag. Like, you had Marvel, like, out of the gate, like, you were up and coming and you got Marvel, and he was just in a bunch of other stuff that was great. He's a great actor, and then bro just had to be a dumbass. I can't imagine But yeah, as far as the future of the MCU, it's very unclear. Again, they're calling Kang Dynasty Avengers 5. Whether they're just going to go in a different direction entirely with a different villain, or they're going to recast, it's unclear. I think they're calling it Avengers 5 now just to have options open. People are throwing around Doctor Doom, people are throwing around other villains. I think they're going to do the Beyonder, but of course they could still recast if they want to go that route. I was telling Torin just yesterday that if they I think they're taking this opportunity to shift course, because I think the writing was on the wall with Kang, that he wasn't necessarily successful as far as like public reception went. Like Thanos, when he showed up, it was like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, this guy looks really cool, and oh, what is this in Infinity Gauntlet? But when Kang showed up, other than Loki, it was like, this is like the next big bad. We just had like a huge hulking purple CGI dude, and I was just some guy. Now, obviously, we know that Kang is a massive threat in the comics, even some of the animated series. He can be that big bad. But unfortunately, with the way they just sort of set him up, I think they just did a poor job at doing that and showing what he is capable of. And I think they're just going to take this opportunity to shift course. And if anyone's seen Loki season 2, at the end, they can sort of... They left it open-ended. They're basically like, hey, we're going to be monitoring all these Kang variants. So basically, if they wanted to continue with Kang, they could just say, oh, the TVA failed at doing that. And if they just want to shift course, they could just be like, yeah, the TVA has the Kang variants covered. Yeah, and then it's also a thing too where, like, as what you said, public reception wise, as the fandom is of the MCU at the moment, they just don't seem to care for Kang, and they want like a bigger name like Doctor Doom and stuff like that. They hate build up, but they want to get into the good stuff. So unfortunately, yeah, Kang is like definitely up in the air for the MCU. They're not gonna like move forward with them in like some sort of way in the foreseeable future. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think they like what you said. It's definitely open ended. It's like, he could come back if they wanted to reintroduce him in some sort of way. But other than that, like, it's how it is in the MCU for right now. Yeah, absolutely. And if they do recast, I really want John Boyega. Everyone wants John Boyega, but John Boyega doesn't seem to be interested, which, fair enough. He was burned on Star Wars. I totally get it. But man, he'd be good, wouldn't he? He'd be so good. He'd be so incredible. But yeah, honestly, I think this is sort of a blessing in disguise. I think they needed to shift course anyway, and it's gonna inevitably delay like the Avengers movies, which I think needed a delay. They were coming out swinging with that shit. I think it was coming way too fast. I think they were rushing into things. So yeah, I think this is a blessing in disguise, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, next piece of news, a new animated series, Eyes of Wakanda, is in the works at Marvel. And the sort of thought behind it is, throughout Wakandan history, brave warriors have been tasked to travel the world retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts, and that's sort of where that series is going to go. Apparently this series, Eyes of Wakanda, is farther in development than we realize. I think it's rumored that it actually might come out in 2024. That will obviously remains to be seen, but it'll be cool if it does. I'm intrigued, at least. I'm curious as to what the animation style is going to be. I wonder if they're just going to stick with the what if sort of looking thing. I'd like more animation styles from them, though. Also, Spider-Man Freshman Year has been retitled to Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and is on track for a 2024 release. And yeah, I think they retitled it because I think the original plan was that it was going to be Spider-Man Freshman Year, and then they were going to do sophomore year, junior year, senior year. But I think there was some internal creative differences and stuff like that. So it shifted. So now it's going to be your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Whether it gets more seasons or not, I guess we'll just have to see. and this is according to Daniel RPK. Ant-Man and Daredevil are rumored to appear in Spider-Man 4. It's rumored that Daredevil will have a sizable role in the film and is being described as a street-level civil war. That sounds fucking insane.
Yes. I've been saying this for years. I mean, like, of course. I mean, like, myself and various others are saying that, like, yeah, like, Spider-Man needs to be like a little bit more of a street level type of thing. And one of the villains that I really want him to take on is like Tombstone.
Yes.
Like, I think that would be like a really great way to have like this sort of like gang war turf type of thing going on, because, like, you know,
and then Kingpin actually has an in other than, hey, look, it's Kingpin.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, you can introduce yourself to, like, you know, like Tombstone and like Hammerhead and Kingpin, and like I think that would just be like so cool to, like, you know, do in like the next Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like Kingpin comes in and Daredevil comes in and Spider-Man's like, who's this guy? And Daredevil's like, well, there's 3 seasons of this show.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's a lot of backstory to this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it would make the most sense in that way. And then, like, because, you know, we've already seen like Spider-Man in space, obviously, you know, we've already seen, like, you know, what he can do on the cosmic side, but, like, you know, I just think it's just time for him to stay on the ground. It'd be really fucking cool to do that.
Yeah, there was a rumor a while ago that it may be like the Sonyverse like merging with the MCU. Hopefully that doesn't happen. What I think is happening is they're working on scripts right now, but I think that's just what it is. I think they're working on like multiple scripts with like multiple different ideas and pitches, because they've been working on the script, I think, for at least a year now, and the movie's not going to be set to start filming until like 2025. So like there's a ways to go for this movie, but Tom Holland has said himself that he is at least involved with, you know, he knows what the stories are, and clearly they trust him now to not spoil shit. But he's clearly involved in some creative capacity, because he's basically alluded to saying like he doesn't really want to do it unless it's good, unless there's there's something actually good there. And I highly doubt Tom Holland wants to merge the Sonyverse with the MCU. I mean, ultimately, it is sort of Sony's decision, but I also doubt Disney would want to go that route either. But yeah, I don't know. I trust Tom Holland and his idea of where the character should go. I think he also wants a street level sort of story. And yeah, if that happens, Daredevil in and having a sizable role, it'll, you know, appease Sony, because they seem to want some sort of Disney MCU character in every single one of these movies. And Daredevil fits the bill really, really well, and it could connect to his show, because in his show apparently they're setting up like Kingpin running for mayor, and that'll be sick. Like, yeah, it could be very, very exciting. As far as Ant-Man goes, though, I have no idea what role he'd play. It's just like, hey, we're 2 bug related characters. We're both in New York. Here I am, I guess. I don't know.
You know, Scott's gonna give him some tips on how to be a professional thief. Have him be more sneaky so he can get into some plans.
I don't know. Or it could be like, because Hope has the like Van Dyne Industries or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. They could help him in some
PIM particles.
They could help him in some sort of tech aspect, I guess. I don't know. But people are like, oh, don't put Ant-Man in it, just because the last movie wasn't that great. But like, he's a fun character. I don't know. It's fine. It's okay. As long as I'd like it to, if he is in it, I'd like it to just be sort of a cameo. I'd like the focus to be, you know, on Spider-Man and Daredevil. But yeah, so that's that. And then we have sort of the elephant in the room. There was a huge Insomniac leak. Before anyone gets worried, we're not going to be talking about spoilers. We will be talking about some of the things surrounding it, though. Not the spoilers. But, you know, Insomniac, who's the developers of the recent Spider-Man games, and they're working on a Wolverine game. Most of the stuff that has leaked is Wolverine stuff. Again, we're not going to go into spoilers. Unfortunately, also some personal info of the employees have leaked as well. That fucking sucks. Like they were asking, the hackers were like asking for, I think, $2 million in Bitcoin. Insomniac didn't end up paying that, which I think is good. Although Sony could have stepped in and fucking done something. They do own Insomniac. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. A lot of the Wolverine stuff leaked. Like, it's out there. If you want to find it, it's really easy. I think not even like a build of the game leaked. So like there is a playable build out there too. But I mean, Torn and I saw a bit of the gameplay. It looks good. It looks really far along, despite the leaked release date being pretty far away. But it looks already relatively polished. It looks like the rumor was that it was going to be sort of God of War-esque, and that does seem to be the case. It looks very God of War, and I don't know. It has made me more excited, despite how bad this situation is for Insomniac. They have come out and said that they are still gonna keep the train moving. They're still going to try to make their projected release date. They're not letting this deter them, which is awesome. Insomniac has a studio, they're clearly a very strong studio, and I'm happy that they're not letting this deter them. But if anything, if there is any silver lining, it just made people more excited for the Wolverine game. There are some people who are being annoying about it, but that's to be expected. There were some other things that leaked. There was one thing I do sort of want to clarify. That something that came out. There was a Spider-Man multiplayer, like a game that was sort of in the very early works at Insomniac. Though it was canceled. There are some people like, holy shit, we're getting a Spider-Man multiplayer again. No, we're not. It was canceled. The concept art looked really cool. It was like it was going to be like a multiverse thing. You could like create your own Spider-Man. Looked really, really cool. I imagine a lot of the technical, or a lot of the reason why it was canceled was probably technical aspects. Imagine like swinging around New York City and they had to like render it like all the time with several different Spider-Man swinging around. I could see why they canceled it, but I don't think they should put that idea off the table. It could be really, really, really cool if done right. There were a couple other games also in development that I won't get into, because I think when they reveal those, it'll be very exciting. But it is exciting. And there was stuff like Spider-Man 3 is in development. Like, yeah, no shit. But yeah, it sucks. But yeah, silver lining, the Wolverine game looks great. A lot of the stuff on the horizon seems really cool. So yeah, but it sucks for Insomniac. Yeah, that's it for the news of the week, which means it's time to get into our topic, which is, of course, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, or Aquaman I think that's the Aquaman,
yeah,
Lost Kingdom.
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Most basic title of all time.
Aquaman and the Mid Kingdom.
We're going to be doing non-spoilers and spoilers, but we're going to keep the non-spoiler section brief, because does anyone really care? But yeah, Tor, what are your general thoughts on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom?
I mean, I think the movie is it's something. It
is one of the movies of all time.
Yeah, it is one of the movies of all time. I don't know. I think there's some cool highlights of the film, some cool shots, definitely some nice pieces of the score, and I mean, there's really not much. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that was like missing from the film, obviously, and there's some stuff that like I wish would have flowed better, and so that would have seen better from some characters. Like some of them felt like one-dimensional in a way, and like some of the stuff just felt really flat to me. But than that, I think it's like not the worst movie I've ever seen. Yeah,
it's not 28 Weeks Later.
No, that shit's ass.
I thought it was okay. We're gonna give it a score here in a second, but it's one of those movies where it's like there's fun elements that doesn't really, it's not very cohesive. I thought the movie started off really rough. I was like, once the movie started, I was like, ooh, oh no, we're not in for a good ride. But I think there was a turning point in the movie, which we'll get into in spoilers, that I thought the movie did improve. It didn't like, it wasn't like such an improvement that like all of a sudden it's like, oh, once you get through that first half, like, oh, it's not very good, but that second half is fucking incredible. The second, I mean, it's still not great. It's decent at best. Like the lows are the only thing I can compare it to is the other lame ass movie from the DCEU that came out this year is The Flash. The lows of Aquaman 2 are not as low as The Flash, but the highs of Aquaman 2 are also not as high as The Flash. So it's like it's really just riding that middling line. But yeah, the lows, it's not great, but the highs, they're pretty, it was pretty fun at times. But yeah, let's give it a score. I'd give it a 6, 5.5 to a 6.
I give that shit like a 4.5, 4.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
to add.
Yeah,
and it's like a 2 out of 5.
I just I gave it a 6 because 6s for me, it's like there's good 6s and there's bad 6s. Like a good 6 is like something that's like competently made. Maybe I didn't love it, or I wanted to love it. It wasn't clicking for me, but it clearly, like, it's a fine movie. And then there's the bad 6, which is like it's kind of fun, so the enjoyment was kind of carrying it for me, but it's not a great movie. And that's kind of what this was a bad 6. But yeah, let's just get straight into spoilers, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
So the turning point for me was when Black Manta stole the baby. That's where I was
at the very end.
No, that was not the very end. It was like 3/4 of the way.
Bro. That was like the third act, or at the end of the second
that was like
act.
the start of the third act.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was sort of the turning point where I was like, okay, this is actually getting relatively interesting. I think that was that before or after Randall Park like did the surrendering scene?
No, that was after. No, that was before. Fuck. Sorry. I'm getting, because like he sold a baby, and then they were like, no, I think that was after. Because like, I think he surrendered himself before he did all that.
That whole sequence is good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that, because then the chick got into like the weird like jellyfish ship thing and started going after Orm. I thought that was a good action sequence. And then after that, it starts to get middling again. But yeah, I don't think this movie starts off very strong. It's like there's this very weird voiceover from Jason Momoa that just, I don't know, doesn't sound great, and it doesn't look great. This movie is a weird visual downgrade from the first film. That being said, I think I enjoyed this movie more than the first one, but I also haven't seen the first one like since it came out. So
I genuinely enjoyed the first one a lot better. I think I think the set design and like the CGI was definitely way more beautiful. Like the colors were way more vibrant.
Oh, the first one looks way better.
Yeah, and like in this one, I think one of my problems with this film is, like I said, like one of them is being the characters. I think one of the standouts for me was Orm, because I do like seeing
his character was a huge improvement over the first movie.
His character was a huge improvement, and I do like the dynamic of, you know, him with Jason Momoa, because like, you know, it's like something to where it's like the cliche where you have like the chill guy versus the serious guy.
Yeah, they're really fun together.
Yeah, and it's like what I liked about Orm's character is that like while he's still like very serious and he wants to like he tries his best to like make a change, he's willing to like be like he eases himself up to like like loosen up a little bit in a way. Like he's willing to like have fun because he's around Jason Momoa. And he's like you see that moment where like he fucking eats the cockroach.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's not bad actually.
It's not bad, and it's like that scene where he's like semi Naruto running and Jason Momoa's like, why are you running like that? He's like, I don't know how to run.
Yeah, that was good.
He starts running like super fast like Captain America.
Yeah, like
that was fun.
Yeah, there's good stuff in this, but it's usually in like small character moments and the big spectacle stuff never really lands. Even the fight scenes don't feel
like
impactful.
The fight scenes, like, I mean, of course, like, it's like, it's competent choreography, but they're just not like they don't last long enough. And one of the things that like before I went into this movie was when I heard is that like the fight scene between Aquaman and Black Manta there wasn't enough of, and they're right, like. And that's also a big point of the film is that I wish there was more of Black Manta. Like, it's like, the Trident is like enhancing his anger and hatred towards Aquaman. And I wish we saw more of that, like through like, maybe more internal dialogue or him like struggling to like at least get out of that position of being like having this intense hatred and anger.
Yeah, they clearly didn't know what to do with him. It's like after the first movie they didn't know what to do with him, but then everyone was like, "Ooh, I really want to see more Black Manta," and they were like, "Shit, what do we do with this guy?"
And then it's like, okay, well, and then like they nailed his design. It's such a like his design is so cool.
It's
like
so good.
I love it. And like I love how he is more powerful, like with the beams and like how he's like. I wish they just made him in like a more of a threat.
And oddly, we didn't see enough of him in the suit. A lot of it was just him talking to other people in his crew and like Randall Park and stuff, who we alluded to earlier. Also a highlight of this film. He's always great.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought like, dude, there's a part where I thought he was going to die, and I think if he had died, I probably would have just been super duper upset. I probably would have given this movie half a star if he died. Like I was really just like, please do not die, please do not die, and thank God he lived. And I really just felt like he just made the movie like a little bit more tolerable to me. But yeah, like like you said with Black Manta, like there wasn't enough of him in the suit, and like there was like this one corny ass dialogue he did where he said to Aquaman, he's like, Aquaman, first you take his throne,
then you take his girl. Shame on you.
Oh my God.
I kind of love it.
I was like,
I kind of love it.
I'm like, this is corny, but it's so funny because the way he's like, Aquaman, shame on you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
But I wanted more of that. It's so
it's humorous.
It's corny, but in a comic booky way. It's not just corny in a kind of way. You know?
Yeah, and it's like I wish that I wish it was more of him. I wish there was more fights with him. And then like also at the end, I mean it makes sense, but I mean it makes sense in two ways because of his character and how there's no longer going to be a DCEU, but the way he goes out,
bro really said, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
And then like you gotta fucking he like lands on his back, bro. It fucking breaks his back as he fucking just falls towards his demise. Like, come the fuck on.
They were like, let's really make this final.
Give this man some fucking dignity after wasting his fucking character.
Yeah, at least
twice.
let him like die in a fight with Aquaman.
Like,
because what I thought was gonna happen, Aquaman was gonna offer his hand, he was gonna take it, and he was gonna be like, "Hey, bro, sorry about killing your father. I was an angry dude back then. Like I know you can't forgive me." Like that kind of shit. Like I don't want to spoil it.
Fucking spoil
but there's
it.
There's a moment in Spider-Man 2 where
my fault. I thought it was one of the movie.
No. There's a moment in Spider-Man 2, the game, where something sort of similar happens, where a character doesn't necessarily forgive another character, but they're like, I can't, like, we gotta move on. And I think there was a clear moment for that to happen, and they just like, let's just make him go down a hole.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, dude, like that's so shitty. Like, and it's like, you know, like Black Manta, like he's definitely like a character to, like, you know, he's not like super duper mainstream, but like to like he definitely has like a great, like, you know, community around him to where it's like, yeah, like he matters, you know. And the fact that you wasted his character like that, it's fucking heartbreaking. I'm like, oh my god. And like, even like fucking like Yahya Abdul-Mateen, he's such a great actor.
He's so incredible.
And then it's like, and it's like, it's so just heartbreaking. I mean, like, of course, I'm definitely like over exaggerating, but it's like, it really is like, it definitely really is a bad thing to like do that, you know?
Yeah, luckily he's going to the MCU.
Yeah, as Wonder Man.
Yeah.
Which is good, but still, like, and then, yeah, you know, of course, you know, like, you have Amber Heard. Her stuff was cut down a lot.
Yeah, but you can. A lot of people were, because it came out that like, oh, she is still going to be in the movie, and a lot of people were mad. But after seeing the movie, there's no way to cut her out of the movie.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like, it makes sense in a way to keep her in the scenes that she is in for that more of that for the plot.
There was one scene though where I was like, okay, she doesn't need to be here.
Which scene?
Right, we're in spoilers. It was towards the I think it was after when Randall Park surrenders, that whole action sequence, and he tries to chase Black Manta, and he gets like crushed in some rocks, and then Mara shows up lifting the rocks and stuff. She didn't need to be there for that.
No. That's okay. I don't remember.
Yeah, but it's fine. So let's address the tentacle in the room. The squids.
Squids?
Yeah, how'd you feel about him?
He's an octopus.
Yeah, okay. The tentacled beings. How'd you feel about him?
I just love how at the beginning, but wait, what was his name? Topo? Yeah. Sure. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm with Topo, and then Orm's like, the cephalopod. But honestly, I was like, at first when he came in, I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh, you know, he's not that bad. He's homie. And then he talks
weird little sounds he makes. Yeah,
he's funny. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I didn't like when he first shows up, like in the desert place, and he crawls up the wall. I didn't like that. I didn't like the way he moved. I was like, It was like, it's moments like that where I was like, okay, I kind of get your fear.
Yeah, I was like, oh god. And then for some reason, for some odd reason, he has like the movements of a squid, but it didn't bother me too much because of his fat fucking head. And then I don't know if that was him, but like there was like a part of the movie where Orm and you know, Aquaman are going to this place, you know, to in a sense like, you know, talk to some guy who's played by Martin Short, and there was like a tentacle monster on the ship, and he just flies away. I don't know if that was him, but that shit fucking scared me.
You could not catch a break. There was just like a squid like every 15 minutes.
There were some tentacle monsters, and they didn't really bother me too much. But overall, I think I was fine because Toppo was like funny. He was like making these weird noises. It reminded me of Perry the Platypus a little bit. So overall, I think the tentacle factor, scariness, I would give like about a 3.
Okay, could have been worse.
Yeah, it definitely could have been worse. Had he like been a squid, I think I probably would have killed myself in the theater.
Yeah, so you definitely there's clearly a difference in your brain between a squid and an octopus as far as fear goes.
Yeah, because I mean, an octopus, I think I could like handle it in like to an extent. To a squid, I think squids are fucking absolutely horrible. If I could make a wish to eradicate all of them from the ocean and from what we call life, I think the world would be a better place. I think there would be world peace. Yeah,
but we wouldn't have calamari anymore, and calamari is delicious.
Fuck them. No, well, I mean, if you killing them motherfuckers, cool, and you eating them, sure, but I don't want to see them like alive anymore.
All right,
make all the calamari you want.
Okay, so sure. Squids would be fine as long as we can make squid slaughterhouses.
Yes. Oh, I don't want to think about it, but yeah, like if I'm not seeing that shit, yeah, I mean, if you making that shit and you eating that shit, like cool, like I don't give a fuck.
PETA is coming after you.
I'm not the one. I mean, I can't eat that shit, but if other people are, excelling into the squid making arts, that's cool, All
right.
Other than that, I hate that shit. Like. Octopuses, like or octopi, I mean they're cool, but they're still kind of freaky to an extent,
Yeah, I get it.
But Toppo was fun. I like him a lot. If octopuses were like that, like they were making like weird, like funny sounds, and they just were chill, I mean, I think the world would be a much better place.
Understandable. But that scene where they go into that, like, where the pirates reside, I guess, I turned to you and I was like, yeah, this is very Phantom Menace, very prequels.
Yeah, very prequels coded.
Yeah, the Martin Short character, everything about it was very prequels. And for that reason, I kind of enjoyed it. This kind of reminds me of the prequels. I hate the prequels, but I also like the prequels. It's like, these are bad movies, but there is that nostalgia factor.
Also, I just love how the hammerhead shark bodyguards, they're just so funny.
Oh yeah,
and the way they laugh too, it was funny.
But yeah, in that whole sequence, I mean, the entire movie really, but that sequence especially, CGI was not looking great.
Oh no, yeah, there was some moments where like the CGI was like, oh my god. There was like literally a couple of moments where Jason Momoa was like, oh god, it's kind of nuts. And Nicole Kidman's character, there was like a CGI moment. I was like, oh wow. There was
also a character where, did I say character? There's also a moment where Aquaman is talking to the crab dude.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, and I'm like, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, definitely a visual downgrade compared to the first one. I just imagine it's crunch and wearing VFX artists thin, just like people criticize the MCU for it, but really it's an industry-wide thing. You have some gems every now and again, but yeah, it's clearly a visual downgrade for just the entire industry. And this movie was certainly affected by it. Yeah, I told you, like, towards the end there, like there was clearly some reshoots because there was some bad green screen. This movie felt very Quantumania in that it felt like it was filmed in a box. Like, yeah,
I can tell there was only like it felt like like 3 like locations, like for sure.
Like clearly, like when they were outside, there were some real sets and some location shots, but when they were underwater, yeah, it felt like they're in a box. Which it's like, obviously that's going to be filmed on a green or a blue screen, but it didn't feel like that in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So like clearly, I don't know what they're doing. They like they definitely weren't filming in a volume where usually a lot of that comes from, unless they were filming in the volume. I don't know, but I don't think they were. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I'm not a VFX artist, but that's just how it felt. Felt like they were in a box. Bad CGI generally. There was some good moments every now and again. Like again, that scene where when Randall Park surrendered, and that whole sequence, I thought that looked pretty good. But yeah, like you said earlier, like Orm, huge improvement in this movie. I really loved him and Aquaman's dynamic. I like the bit he's like super skinny and he gets into the water and he comes out fucking shredded.
Yeah, I felt like that was like a different actor, bro. Like the
like it's like a head replacement.
Yeah,
100%.
It was definitely like a Captain America like
First Avenger for sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That or they skinnied him down, which they did that to RDJ in Endgame.
Yeah, for sure.
Either way, CGI going on.
Yeah.
There was only one scene where I could tell it was CG.
For Orm?
Yeah, otherwise it looked good.
Which scene?
There was a scene where they were like, when they got out, there was one point where he was like leaning up against some rocks that I thought looked off.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, other than that, it looked great. And then he came out, bro was jacked. Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, I know. Patrick Wilson was going crazy. Yeah, there was a part where I really liked. It was when what the hell is his name? It looked like King Neptune.
I don't know.
Dolph
Lundgren.
Yeah,
I cannot take that man seriously in this movie.
His character, where like he's like begging for help, and then just like the close up of like Patrick Wilson making the most devious look ever.
Oh yeah,
and his head just like goes away, and I'm just like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah,
that's so funny. And then he saves him, and I'm like, but I'm like that's like literally like, it just reminds me of like Insidious or like The Conjuring type of stuff. That was funny.
I kind of forgot that was Dolph Lundgren. I cannot take that dude seriously.
Yeah, I was like,
Dolph any Lundgren? Other role except the role in Rocky.
Yeah, I was like, Dolph Lundgren. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wasn't he in the first one too? I forgot. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Yeah, I think so.
He's not good. he's just not a good actor, is he?
I'm not the one. I have no further comment on that. Cannot confirm or deny. But yeah, there
was that point towards the end where he's like, Atlantis like reveals themselves to the world. I was like, this is very Black Panther. The first one was just like, oh, this is just Black Panther, and this one less so, like generally speaking, but that was very Black Panther.
Yeah, very Black Panther. And then of course at the end he's like, yeah, I'm Aquaman. And I'm like, oh,
that's a reshoot,
man. Yeah, that definitely is a reshoot. You can tell by the
framing,
amount, the
green
amount
screen,
of the framing, and the amount of blur you see around his around him. Yeah, that was a reshoot. But also, I love I don't know. It's like I said, it kind of goes into where like the character moment of Orm, but I like how he's eating a burger and fries with a beer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you're enjoying the simple things, huh?
After I ate a burger,
yeah, I know.
Didn't have a beer though.
We should have had a beer, maybe a couple,
maybe 5, maybe 12,
and give you a nice set of car keys as a prize.
Yeah, but then he gets a cockroach and puts it in it.
Yeah,
small stuff like that. I'm like, that's fun. I like that.
I know,
but yeah, grand scheme of things, not great, is it? And then you know what I am happy about is that I'm happy about it and I'm not happy about it. At the end fight, they beat Black Manta too easily, in my opinion. But then there's the CGI dude, skeleton looking guy, and they just sort of off him immediately. I was like, thank God.
yeah, I know. I was like, oh man, man, he's a big bad, and then like I mean, I knew how he was going to go out.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been like way more funnier had he been like, yes, I've been waiting endless amount of centuries to be reborn, and then he just gets
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen too. Yeah.
That would have been amazing. That would have brought the film up to a 4 stars. 4 out of 5 stars. How that happened.
Yeah, when they were in the jungle running away from those grasshoppers,
I think they were grasshoppers.
Locusts? Grasshoppers? Totally thought there was going to be a spider at one point, and I was bracing myself.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I feel like there's going to be a spider at one point. Like,
luckily, there was not. I was saved.
Yeah, you were saved. Me.
I really thought, because there's the thing, like if one of us like on TikTok like gets a squid video or a spider video, the other person is inevitably gonna like soon after. So I was like, oh no, squids.
Yeah, no.
I was like, oh, there's gonna, oh no.
Yeah, I had to live in the constant awareness and terror of, you know how some filmmakers are. They're not worried about the little guy, aka me. They could have put a freaking little jump scare of a squid going into frame, and I probably would have just died. But
oh yeah, there's that scene in the beginning with the tentacles just coming from everywhere.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
you're generally fine with that, right?
No, that's okay.
Yeah, we'll get into tentacles later.
What do you mean by later? Something else to talk about this movie. Just ask.
It's not about this movie.
What do you mean?
We'll talk about it.
What do you mean?
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I don't.
Oh, I liked Tamara Morrison was given a bigger role in this. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I like that. I'm actually kind of disappointed he didn't put on any like Boba Fett or Jango Fett armor.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Mandalorian armor. Just kind of annoying.
I turned to Joel and he was like, when he was talking, I was like a bantha. It's like, I love him. He's great. Should have been a better show though. Shit was ass.
Also, speaking of costumes, I really did like the newer Aquaman costume.
I think it's good. A lot of people hate it.
It's more vibrant. It's like, very, definitely very Jason Momoa type of thing, Yeah. It's cool. I like it. But
I can't think of anything else.
I don't know any. I just can't think of anything else. Honestly.
Again, Randall Park, a highlight. He was just pretty much great in everything. He was clearly like, he was like the audience sort of person,
Yeah.
Questioning the villain's plan and turning towards the end and shit like that.
I'm just glad he doesn't die. I'm just so glad he didn't die. And then obviously, Black Manta was like definitely an issue. Could have been a lot more. It could have been used a lot more. Could have been a bigger threat. Obviously not, because WB hates Black Manta. Fortunately,
for some reason, Warner WB hate black people for some reason. Ray Fisher.
Yeah.
But what was a good scene after Black Manta takes the baby and he like burns down the house and shit, and they come out, like that was a good scene when they come out and they're like, ah shit, and then Tamara Morrison comes out and he's like, Arthur, they took the baby or whatever. And he's like, oh no. That was a good scene. I like that.
The one part I wish this is a very nitpicky thing where I don't know why they did a slow-mo of him like just like crying. They could have just like cut to something else
of who crying.
Aquaman was crying and they did like a slow-mo thing.
Oh, and then there was some weird slow-mo freeze frame type shots.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, not a fan of it. Like I said, that's very nitpicky. Just a nitpick thing.
Nah, I get it. There was that cool shot where the power goes out and Black Manta's lights come out.
Yeah, I like that. That was so cool.
Yeah. God, this should have just more Black Manta stuff, man. I don't understand. Like, why? Why? Like, just skimp out on such a cool villain.
I don't know, man.
DC's usually the people known for like having the good, well done villains.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I can't think of anything else. Can you?
No.
Yeah. Post credit scene? No, there wasn't a post credit scene. Well, there was, but it wasn't anything. Yeah. End of the DCEU. End of an era. A decade of mediocre movies.
Yeah.
We're gonna be back in like 2 weeks. I think after our 100th episode, we're gonna do like a ranking of the DCEU films, and we're gonna talk about why they're fucking garbage. No, why the universe failed, what they could have done differently. We're gonna be doing that. But yeah, that's that. 6 out of 10 for me. What was yours again? 5 out of 4 or 5?
But yeah, like 4.5,
4.5,
5.
Yeah, mine's probably 5.5 to a 6. Only reason why it's that high for me is just I there was some fun moments. I did really like Aquaman and Orm's dynamic. I was gonna be pretty mad if they were like, he's still a bad guy. I was like, okay. But they toyed with that a little bit, like you said, with the Dolph Lundgren thing, but it ended up being cool. So that sort of saved that for me. But yeah, I had some fun with it, but overall not great. Just like the first one. Because that's pretty much what the first one is. Not a great movie, but some fun. There's some fun, interesting visuals. This one, pretty fun, bad movie, not great visuals. But maybe Aquaman, maybe the first one's effects don't hold up, but I also don't want to rewatch it. So anyway, what'd you watch the past couple weeks?
Let me see.
You went on a fucking spree.
Let me go on my handy dandy. I'm not done yet.
I know you're not.
No, I'm not done yet. What did I leave off on last time?
Oh, now I gotta go to your letterbox.
Was it? Okay, I think it was Maze Runner. It was Maze Runner.
Holy shit, you've been giving ratings to all the MCU movies. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, I did.
Or did you leave off on -1?
Godzilla -1?
Oh wait. 500 Days of Summer. We talked about that.
I'm sure it was Maze Runner.
Maze Runner. Okay, maybe it was Maze Runner. I think you're right.
Okay. So what I watched after that was At Eternity's Gate with Willem Dafoe, and it's like as he plays a Van Gogh in his final years of being a painter, and I think it's a really cool like film. It's very personal. I love like how it's shot. It's like, lots of handheld and like not much like going on with in terms of like camera movement. There's not like I'm just saying, like there's not like dollies or anything like that. It's very mostly handheld, and it's a really cool movie, and it's kind of shows like why Van Gogh is a painter and like how people criticize his painting because it's not like it's not like the norm in a way. Yeah. And it also has Oscar Isaac and stuff like that, and he's cool in it. But overall, I really liked it. It was really cool. It's really
Oscar Isaac's in it.
Yeah, he's in it.
Oh,
he's not in it like a lot though, but like he's good. But overall, I Eternity's Gate is good. And I rewatched Man of Steel. That was cool. It's longer than I thought. Like definitely longer than I thought. I was like, man, this is insane. Overall, I think it's a cool movie. There's some stuff that I don't like about it. Number one being like the ending could have been way different. Of course, not a fan of the darker colors. And overall, overall, Henry Cavill is a Superman that I wish we had got more of, fortunately. Then I watched The Iron Claw. I absolutely love this movie. As a wrestling fan / film enjoyer, I absolutely loved it. Zac Efron put his all in this movie. He definitely deserves an Oscar. Jeremy Allen White is really good as well. Plays really, really well as Carrie Von Erich. And overall, it's a film that, while is so beautiful, it's so beautiful, yet it displays tragedy in like such a great amount of ways. And fun fact, I didn't even know this until I came home. My mom told me she met like a couple of the Von Erich brothers.
Oh wow!
So that is actually pretty well. My grandpa taught some of the Von Erich brothers because he taught like fucking everybody. So that's cool that my family knew the Von Erichs, which is awesome. Then I watched Beverly Hills Cop.
As did I. Good shit.
The most 80s movie ever in the best way possible.
So many 80s songs. I'm like, God damn.
I know. Like even like just like the fashion, the cars, the music. Obviously, it's a blast.
Very 80s.
I also love like Eddie Murphy's character. He's very charming, yet he is very smart at what he does.
Yeah, I did like that. I was like, oh, we're in for like Eddie Murphy, like full Eddie Murphy. But no, he's clearly, it's competent.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, he is definitely like a movie to where like, yeah, you know, like it's pretty good amount of stakes, you know, like there's something that is going on and I like it.
Jobs at risk.
Yeah. And like, obviously like, you know, the one thing I was like, man, you know, he's not really like, you know, his friend just died. And I was like, oh, I figured he'd be more shaken up about it. But of course, you know, he just wants to figure out who he did it in his own way, you know, with him being a detective.
Yeah.
But it's good. Then I watched The Creator, like a cinematographer's dream, aka
crazy how this movie was made for only $80 million.
I know, it's Rogue One Part 2. As you know, John David Washington, he's so great in this movie. He's so good. And you know, Gemma Chan, where she doesn't play a cheater.
Jesus Christ.
Also, I really love the child actress in this film. She brought a lot of emotion to the role. I don't know what it is about child actresses and recently they've been like cooking. Like they've been cooking like in their films. Like child actresses like years ago they suck, but now like they're really good. Obviously suck is like an exaggeration. Then I watched District 9. Great. I think it's an underrated sci-fi film. I love how it's kind of shot in this like documentary type style, and it's definitely like it's something that doesn't happen a whole lot. It's funny because like there's a line where it's like, there's always stuff that's happening in like New York or California, but here it's in South Africa. When do you ever see that? It's something that's just, it's funny. It's really good. And then I rewatched In Time with Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried. I think it's a cool concept where like, you know, your life is based on how much time you have, and it also has Matt Bomer in it, who needs to be in more stuff.
For real. And
like I said, the concept of like time is like, you know, people can have like centuries of time and like they can still live, and there's like there's a sense of immortality, and Matt Bomer's character is like, well, people shouldn't be immortal. That's not how you should like live your life, you know. And I think it's a cool movie. And for some reason, like Amanda Seyfried's character has like light Stockholm syndrome, because Justin Timberlake essentially captures her and they fall in love. I don't know, it's kind of weird. And then I watched Inglourious Bastards finally.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, it's so good.
It's good.
It's so good. Like the like beginning scene, like with Christoph Waltz.
Brilliant performance.
So good. And I just love how they're like, do you speak English? And then they just speak in English, and then he's like, yeah, I know you're hiding them in your floor. And they go back to speaking French. Was it French? No, German. French.
I don't remember.
I think it was French. And then they just start shooting out the below, like the floorboards. Oh my god, that was crazy. And then like there was a survivor, the Shavana, she becomes a problem later on. It's so cool. It's
so good.
It's
amazing. I love how Christoph Waltz, he could be just terrifying, but he's also goofy as shit in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like he is, like he's so, he plays his role so well of like making you comfortably uncomfortable at the same time.
It's always a surprise seeing Daniel Bruhl in the movie. I keep forgetting he's in it. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh shit, yeah.
Zemo cannot, like he cannot catch a hint.
Yeah. And of course, you have so many great moments in this movie. You have just the way Brad Pitt speaks when they're talking about like scalping the Nazis and shit. You have the Michael Fassbender 3 thing.
Mike Myers, like, he was a very short role.
The bit where they're all trying to speak in Italian or trying to.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
Scusi. Italian.
Yeah, we're here. We are Italian. Yeah, I fucking love that shit.
That was so funny.
You're gonna kill some Nazis.
He killed some Nazis. It was like, I want me 100 of them Nazis scalped. If you don't give me them scalped, that's your ass. It's so funny. It's amazing.
BJ Novak's in it.
Yeah, it's the most Brad Pitt role ever. Like, I watched Saltburn. That is one of the weirdest movies I've seen in my life.
That's what I was talking about. Tentacle porn.
What?
The tentacle porn.
When?
What do you mean when?
What are you talking about?
The tentacle porn.
Where?
Or was that?
That was Rebel Moon.
Oh shit.
What are you talking about?
Okay, you're still going to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. So like, Saltburn is like one of the weirdest movies I've seen in my life. It has a very stacked cast of Jacob Elordi, Barry Keoghan, Rosamund Pike, who's in Gone Girl, obviously very terrifying. And it also has the guy from Gran Turismo. Yeah, that guy. But obviously it's a very, very weird movie. It talks about, like, you know, upset, like the themes of obsession, love, and wealth and class and stuff like that. It's a well-made movie in the weirdest way possible. It's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it. It has a lot of weird shit in it, but
would you say it's weirder than Titan?
It's weird. I would say like they're weird in their own ways, because Titan is like a body horror type of film, while this one is like, it showcases its like weirdness in like a very like artsy like way, like nonsensical way, in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Because like the stuff that happens in the film, it's like you couldn't have even gotten away with that. Like for what Barry Keoghan's character does, it's like you couldn't have gotten away with that, like, at all. Like you would be in jail, or something like that. But Saltburn, I mean, it has great scenery for sure, because it takes place like in London, I think. It has great cinematography, great cast. It's a beautiful film, but it's really, really weird. And then I watched Rebel Moon. Zack Snyder. I do like Zack Snyder. I do like his, you know, visuals and stuff like that, but I just don't know what he was doing with this film. I mean, overall, there is a concept that is going to be explored in the part 2 for sure, but this is very, like, you can tell. I know there's like a whole thing of like Rebel Moon is like a kind of like Star Wars in a way. And I know like someone who's working on the movie at the time, there's a quote saying, yeah, you know, like, fuck Star Wars or whatever. And you can very much tell where the inspiration is, in terms of like even just like the set design. Yeah, the set design, the costume design, you can just tell.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the movie where it's like, if you hate Star Wars, you're like so done with Star Wars, like this is like Star Wars for adults, and then they fall into the same trappings that people hate Star Wars for.
Yeah, because it's so basically Charlie Hunnam's in the movie, and he plays like this, like, you know, this, he's not really a bounty hunter, but he, like, you know, he collects, like, he's pretty much like a pirate scalps. In a way. Yeah, like he's pretty much like a pirate in a way. He gets money somehow, and he like sets him up in like some sort of way, and I'm like, yeah, like what the fuck is this? Like, this is the most Star Wars shit ever. And then there's some parts where, like, of course, you know, the main character, she's like going to these different planets to get an army to lead a rebellion against like people who like are like fucking over like different planets and shit like that. But there's parts in the film to where it's like, where is this going? There's a part where they go to a planet to like save some guy who's in debt, and then he has to make this like bird hawk like fly type of thing. It's like I don't even know like what Zach was cooking with this.
Didn't they it was so fun because I listened to a review and they said, I thought it was so funny that you watched Rebel Moon and Inglourious Bastards the same day, because they said like the scene with Christoph Waltz and like the hiding the Jewish people or whatever, they like do that scene essentially with Andy Scirin.
So basically what happens is Ed Skrein's character, I hate Ed Skrein. Like not him as an actor. I hate like just the villains he plays, because obviously like a villain's supposed to be annoying. I just don't like how he's good at being annoying, you know.
Deadpool.
So yeah, pretty much that too. It's like, dude, you're an asshole. I love it, but you're an asshole. But Ed Skrein's character, obviously he's like kind of like an admiral in this, and basically he goes like to this planet where like there are a bunch of farmers, and he's not really like, yeah, they're trying to find like the main character who's like the woman, but they're also being like, hey, like yeah, you're gonna give us like some of your crops, like, because, you know, like that's what we want, and to make sure we get them for us, we're gonna have some of our guys stay down here or whatever. And what also tanks this movie for me is that there's an attempt of like sexual assault, and I'm like, ugh.
Oh yeah, apparently there's a bunch of that.
Yeah, so, you know, like, yeah, because like, you know, there's like this like obviously this girl all on the farm, and like all the soldiers are there, and they're obviously like at first harassing her because like she gives them water, and then like later on in the movie is like, yeah, we want more than just water, and then like there's like a bunch of like rapey dialogue, like the classic like rapey dialogue is like, oh, like I like them when they could put up a fight, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, this is horrible. Like this I hate it. And then obviously there's like there's the one guy who doesn't want that to happen, and then he gets beat up for it, and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna watch you as we take turns with her. And I'm like this is fucking gross. Like, stop incorporating this shit in your fucking movies.
Hey bro, it's Zack Snyder. It's got to be edgy, all right?
You're right, it has to be edgy. Zack Snyder at times is like what Garth Ennis is to the comic book community.
I find it so funny because Rebel Moon was supposed to be like throughout the entirety of Zack Snyder's career, with like for the Snyder Bros, they could chalk up shit to be like, oh well, this is bad and this is bad because of studio interference. But Rebel Moon, it was literally supposed to be like, the part of the draw was like, it's Zack Snyder at his most free, like it's full creative freedom for Zack Snyder, and then he puts out this. And then they built in the Snyder Cut draw to it because there's a director's cut version of part 1, and it's supposed to be, it's part 1, part 2. There's a video game in the works. Like, they're banking so hard on this, and the first movie that came out is just getting absolutely shredded.
Yeah, and like obviously, like there is something that is obviously there is a part 2. But I felt it shouldn't even be like a part 2 like to this, like, because there's so much that they could have done differently to where it could have been all in one movie. And so
Is Zack Snyder saying like, oh, well, the director's cut of this, it's like a completely different movie? I'm sure it is, Zach. I'm sure it is.
Like, I mean, the thing is that like there shouldn't be like director's cuts.
This should be the director's cut. And he's like,
exactly.
in my heart of hearts, I knew this was supposed to be a rated R movie. Then make it rated R. I know you want people, like, more people to see it, and for that reason you make it PG-13. But when a bunch of your dialogue is very weird and rapey, you're gonna, like, it's like, oh well, we want younger audiences to see this, and yet that's a lot of the subject matter. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm just like, I really like wasn't a fan of like some of the things that he was like doing in this movie, like mainly because of like, yeah, the rapey dialogue. And also, like, hold on, I actually have like a note. Oh, there's like a few notes I did. There's like one part where, like, so basically in the story there's like robots, right? So basically in the story there was like a king, and he was like, you know, of course, sending out an army to, like, you know, capture all these planets or whatever, like, but they had a war going on, and in the war they had these like robots, right? They had like this army, and once the king died, like the robots like kind of turned into, like, you know, yeah, the robots like turn friendly, right? So any robot they make, they're not programmed to be like, yeah, they're not programmed to fight. And there just this one scene where like they're just shooting at this like robot, they're like torturing it and shit like that. It's like a really dumb thing. And I know like what they're trying to do is that, like, you know, in Zach's like writing, they're trying to make it to where they have this like this army is just like they're like playing evil, like they don't care about anything, they just want to conquer shit. But it's like you can be evil and not, like, there's multiple ways how to be evil without being like completely incompetent, you know. And also, like, oh yeah, speaking of like Ray Fisher, dude, they, like, you know how like Ray
Done
Fisher
dirty again.
Yeah, they did him dirty again. Like, number one, he has like probably at like max maybe like less than 10 minutes of screen time. I would say probably like at least like I would say like 5 to 7 minutes of screen time, right? And like there's a part where he's, you know, he's trying to save like some of the people that came with him, and I'm just gonna say it because like I'm not gonna like let y'all waste your time on this. He fucking dies in the most like dumb way possible, because there's this like turret and they're shooting at the ships, and he gets shot by the guy maining the fucking turret, and it's like, I don't fucking like this. Like, like you bring on Ray Fisher knowing that he got fucked over by WB. Of course, you know, Zack Snyder really likes Ray Fisher, and then you completely fuck him over in this movie, in this piece of shit. This is horrible. Had he gotten like incapacitated in some way, cool, whatever. Like, but you kill him off, it's stupid. I don't like it.
I heard they just straight up do the cantina scene from A New Hope.
Yeah, they do, because they go, because one of the main girl and like one of the guys on the farm, they go to like this bar or whatever, and they're trying to find like this general, and they get into this like little bar fight, and for some reason, you know how like in the Snyder cut, people's main complaints was like the slow-mo shots.
So much slow-mo.
Yeah, he did that like multiple times, and they're like longer than ever.
I actually saw I saw some clips of the action sequences, and they don't look great.
They would be better if they were in slow-mo,
and they'd probably be better if it was rated R, because it was bloodless.
Yeah, and like there was, I think the best slow-mo they could have done was showcase it when, because like basically the main character is like, she's like a war child. That's like a best way to showcase slow-mo, because, you know, like it's war. But they do it in the beginning when she's fighting like the army on the farm, and they do it when they're in the bar. There's slow-mo shots when their gang gets captured on like this like it like looks like what the fuck is that rainy planet from Star Wars?
The rainy planet, Camino,
yeah. It looks like fucking like army Camino with like no raid or some shit. It looks weird. Hey, there's a slow-mo shot when like the main character is fighting like Ed Screen or some shit, and it's like, god damn, like this shit is crazy. But and then also like Ed Screen's character, they like, yeah, he has like a thing to where he has like a bunch of like holes around him, and that's like he's like getting like powered up and juiced up or whatever.
How's the tentacle porn?
There wasn't that much of it, honestly.
Did you like it?
It's not bad. It's there for like 6 seconds. It kind of reminded me of like, oh wow, Zack Snyder saw like The Boys, and he's like, yeah, let's make this guy kind of like adjacent to the deep.
Well, apparently Zack Snyder saw everything and decided to put everything into his movie and didn't decide to do any original shit. And I want to be clear, like, I want to like this. Like, I don't hate Zack Snyder like as a person. He seems chill. I just I thought, because like with the DCEU, like I don't agree with his interpretation of these characters. But with something like doing his own sort of like version of Star Wars that's not actually Star Wars, because then you don't have to, you know, follow their rules and all that. I was like, this could actually be incredible. And then but it's like this, I feel like this movie, like, I haven't seen it, like, in fairness, but like I just feel like it solidifies like, okay, I just don't like Zack Snyder as a director and a storyteller. Imagine if he just was a cinematographer.
Like I said, like, I do like his cinematography. Like I do like it, and I do like some of the stuff that he does sometimes, like with, you know, like I do like Watchmen, even though it's a completely different story for a different day. I do like his visuals. It's just that like just the writing and just, it's just not the best in my opinion for right now. Like I don't like it. Yeah, I thought like I thought I at least was going to be like, okay, well this is actually pretty solid, but like this is like just like everyone's saying, it's very derivative, and it's something that I just wish that there was more to like. And you know, obviously I gotta wait for part 2 to see like if that's any better or anything. But I don't know, man. It's just not it.
Pain.
Yeah.
It's just like sad, if anything. It's like this should be better.
It's just like, damn, dude, like it fucking sucks.
Anyway, but that's all you watched?
Yeah.
I watched. What? Bro's yawning. Bro's tired.
That's it. Yeah.
I watched Paddington 2. That was good fun. I don't know if I loved it as much as everyone else seems to love it, but I thought it was really good. I watched Donnie Darko. I was so confused. Like, I wasn't like confused, but I was like, why? Huh? I should probably watch the director's cut, I think. I don't know.
There's a director's cut, Donnie Darko.
You didn't know that?
No, I did not know that.
Maybe you watched the director's cut and you didn't even know it.
Possibly.
But apparently it's like, it explains more of what the fuck is actually happening. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I don't know. I thought it was fine. I was just so confused.
Yeah.
There was like, it's like a lot of it was like interesting ideas, but then I was like, I don't know if is this executed as well as it could be? I don't know. Anyway, I played through the God of War Ragnarok DLC, God of War Valhalla. It's fucking incredible. Roguelike. And I never really played a roguelike extensively. So it was kind of like my first real go at a roguelike, and it was fucking fantastic. I didn't expect that much from it. I thought it was just sort of like a fun, like, little DLC game mode, but there's a ton of story elements to it. It gives you a lot of fun rewards. It was really, really great. I also watched Welcome to Marwen with Steve Carell, directed by Robert Zemeckis. It's that movie where he's like a photographer of like miniature stuff, like toys and shit, and a lot of it is like CGI, like toys, or like figurines, but it's the actual actors. It looks fucking incredible. Like it looks insanely good. But unfortunately, the story just wasn't really there. All the stuff with like the CGI toys was like really cool, and I was like, ooh, like I'm a big fan of this. But when it gets to the actual like real people, it's just not as compelling. And there's a plot point, a major plot point in the film that I really couldn't tell where they're going with it. And it felt real weird. It wasn't great. It wasn't as good as it could have been. And Robert Zemeckis, he in his own film made a Back to the Future reference. Score was by Alan Silvestri. It was very clear. Pretty good score, all things considered. Alan Silvestri, the GOAT. And yeah, I wanted it to be better, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. And I would recommend it despite all of that, honestly, just for the visuals alone, because it's really, really creative and done really, really well. And I too watched Beverly Hills Cop, and yeah, good shit all around. But yeah, is that the show?
That is the show.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Avengers podcast. If you want to follow us, we're at Avengenerds on Twitter. That's AVENGE nerds. All one word. If you want to follow either one of us, you can reach me at @idzenith_ on Twitter. Where can they reach you?
At Touring Guy on Instagram.
Awesome. We also have a Discord if you'd like to join the conversation there. Those will be linked in the show notes. You can also check out our link tree for any additional links you may be interested in. You can also review the show in-app on Apple Podcasts. If you could leave 5 stars in a review, it would really help us out. Thanks again for listening to Avengers Podcast. We'll see you next week with our episode 100 special, doing a tier list of all the MCU movies. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Later.